Hello there, everybody. Welcome to a PCOS conversation with Julie Duffy Dillon and Laura Burns. And I am Julie Dillon. I am a registered dietitian, a fat positive dietitian, and this is Laura Burns.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm a body liberation yoga teacher and activist.
Yes, and we are the founders of the PCOS Body Liberation community, where people get together to find community to live and thrive with PCOS without diets. And today we are going to do some fun stuff.
Yeah, so welcome. This is our very first PCOS conversations with Julie and Laura. And we're excited to start this series with you because we're doing it because we always have these really good conversations. And I'm like, oh, we should have recorded that. That was so good. And so Julie and I are just like, well, let's just record them. So we have our box of topics. This is how it's going to work is we're going to pull a topic every time and then just react and talk about it. It's really casual. We have not prepped for this. We don't know what we're going to pull. I mean,
I can't tell. We didn't prep for it, right?
So we're just here to chat. I hope that you enjoy this. Please feel free to comment. Let us know what you think about the stuff that we're saying. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you not know? Or are you still exploring? Any comments are great. And let us know if you have any topic ideas for us. So let's get going, huh?
Yeah, let's get going. What's on your box too, by the way?
Oh my God, the best sticker ever. This is my Fatties Against Fascism sticker. This is from Fat Rose, which is a anti-fascist organization.
Love it.
For fat folks. Check them out. They also have t-shirts and stuff. I'm like, they're amazing. Okay, I have more stickers. All right, I guess I'll draw since you're not literally.
Yeah, I can do it.
Julie's in North Carolina and I'm in Texas. Okay.
I have the power. Pick a good one, okay?
Oh, no pressure. Oh my God. It's PCOS and relationship. Look at my bad handwriting. Can you see?
Oh, I can barely read it, but that's okay. I heard you.
When we were writing these down, Julie said, oh, PCOS and how it affects relationships. And I literally was like, oh, because it's like so much. And of course, so then we pull that one. All right.
Of course. Yeah. The world provides, right? It was like, oh, we need to talk about that one right now.
Okay. PCOS and relationships. Let's go.
Well, okay. So something that someone may not know is like, I don't experience PCOS.
Oh, yeah. I have PCOS. Julie doesn't have
it. So like my reaction to it is pretty, I don't know, like dry and clinical because I'm like, what's it like to tell someone you have it? Does it affect things like your sex life? Does it, what does it affect in your relationships? That's the first thing I started thinking about.
A lot of things. But like also you have like years of working one-on-one with people.
Oh, yeah.
Hear about like their experience stuff. But I'll go ahead and start because I have firsthand experience. I will say, oh my God. So it definitely affects your relationship in many ways. And so, okay, I have like 800 things that I want to say at once. With PCOS, people usually think about the like reproductive first. And so I guess like we'll talk about that first, but there's so much more to having PCOS and how that affects your relationship. But just like, fertility stuff, body things. So personally for me, I have dealt with infertility, right? Which is a really common thing for people with PCOS to deal with. And it has been a roller coaster.
Oh
my God. And so like, I think anyone, even if you haven't dealt with infertility or reproductive issues at all, can imagine how that can put strain on a relationship. And so for me, and for a lot of people that I've talked to about this, really the main thing is just like, it really sucks the joy out of trying to make a baby. It sucks the joy out of like really beautiful, intimate times with your partner, or whatever process you're going through, like whatever ways that it could have been joyful and nice, it often becomes really stressful and anxiety producing and can put a strain on your relationship with your partner. So that's whether or not like you two are physically just like having sex to try to make a baby, or if you're going through IVF, or if you anything. Like even if you are like a person who has a surrogate, like I've talked to so many people in so many different like situations. But basically like, you know, so speaking for myself, it just has made it so hard even to talk about it sometimes, not all the time, but like it's just hard. It's like I like yet again have to disappoint someone that I love. You know? And like that's always like my perception, right? That's not even my partner is perceiving things at all, you know? And
Right.
like
Sometimes you're just thinking that you're disappointed.
yeah, but like we do this to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we put that on ourselves as like all the burden and like, you know, oh, it's my fault and I can't give this person this thing. And it's like
that's such a big part of PCOS too, is like, oh, it's your fault you're in this mess.
It's like just more. It's like piling on, like, oh, you did this to yourself, which is not true, by the way, in case you don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like more of the same, right? And it brings in like the shame of everything, and then there's like the stigma. And as a fat person trying to access resources for fertility, that's like incredibly challenging. Like
Well,
I've been
blocked all over the place, right?
I've been refused an appointment with a provider because of my BMI.
You can't even come to the office.
Can't even get an appointment to go and talk to them. So that's one way, like a very large way that it can impact a relationship. And I think with that, it's like you just have to work so hard to maintain your relationship in a way that other people maybe wouldn't have to.
Yeah, it sounds like a theme with PCOS too. Well, what about, I don't want to move too quickly past the fertility piece because I think that is a really big
I don't think we have to stay there a long time. Like it's
it's a big thing. Yeah. And I'm also thinking about the other parts too. Like so many parts of the PCOS experience you can't see. And I'm thinking about that part too. Like if you experience a mood disorder or you have poor memory with your PCOS or you're not sleeping well or you snore.
This is the I have going on, Julie. Is that what's
I mean, those are all really common, you know, those are like, I think about that part. I can remember clients talking about like trying to explain to their partner that this is what they're experiencing with their PCOS and how hard it is. And just kind of, it felt like it was falling on deaf ears or just, it was hard to explain because it's hard to explain things we don't see. Yeah. And I know because of that, the stigma in our world, like if we don't see it, then people often are like, well, it's just in your head. Yeah. And you know, PCOS is in the brain, but still like not in the head, like
not in the head in that way. Yeah. And it's like a thing with chronic illness in general.
True.
It's that so often you can't see what's happening in the body. And what you're saying is like exactly what I would have said because and it also depends on your particular relationship with your partner, with your family, with your friends. Like if you have people in your life who have never had or dealt with anyone with chronic illness before, who like don't really know a lot about it, who also don't know a lot about PCOS and are just not used to all of these things, like it's really hard for them to understand what you're going through, how it affects you, because the message about PCOS is so like reproductive related. Yeah. If they don't, and it's also like not fair if they don't know that there's more to it than that, how can they know that you're dealing with other things? And so one of the problems that happens is that because of the shame and stigma of PCOS, people with it often don't talk about it that much, and they don't tell their partner, they don't tell their family, they don't tell their friends what they're dealing with like fully, and they just kind of let them like not know, but then like might expect to be like seen and validated in certain ways that those people don't even know that they're supposed to be doing. You know, it's like,
yeah, ooh, that gets complicated.
Yeah, and so like for me and a lot of people like in the community, we talk about like removing the shame, talking about it, being vocal about having PCOS and the ways that it affects our bodies, both from like, you know, like mental health issues like anxiety and depression to things like pain or like skin issues or like any of the stuff like sleep disorder, like what you said, like naming this laundry list of stuff like fatigue and inability to sleep at the same time.
Yeah.
And then if somebody doesn't understand that that's PCOS related, they're just like, why can't you sleep? Why are you so tired but you can't sleep? It's like my body is doing this.
Yeah. And the more that it's not spoken about, how that can be so shameful. And that is a big part of like why we wanted to make this community, because we can see the power of like just talking about it and like normalizing the talking about it, how hopefully it'll just like break shame's back. Hopefully take away some of its power, you know?
Yeah, well, we talk about together and with the community members, like creating change in the PCOS world. And like, to me, this is a big part of it, is just being vulnerable and talking about having PCOS.
Yeah.
So specifically in my relationship, I have another chronic illness, and so that you also can't really see.
Mm-hmm.
And so my partner and my family are like used to me like saying, oh, I'm having a really bad day, or oh, I'm having a flare, or like whatever. And so they've kind of gotten used to that. So I'm like a little bit lucky because I have people, I'm lucky to have multiple chronic illnesses. So I'm really kind of used to it,
Oh,
and
come on, yeah.
with PCOS, it's a little bit easier for me to be like, oh yeah, so part of my like symptom package with PCOS is like,
Look what you won.
yeah, this
Package.
it's like a trim package with a car. Like I bought the XLT PCOS package, chronic fatigue, and
What an upgrade.
I got them both. But yeah, so like I definitely have like some privilege there with people who like believe me,
Yeah.
who are open to understanding. And I know that that's not the case for everyone. I know that a lot of people live with or are surrounded by at work, in their family, with their partners, with people who don't get it, they don't understand, they don't believe, and so they feel, and maybe they feel like they can't share too much.
Yeah.
They're in a situation where those relationships suffer, which is really, really unfortunate, but it's really common also.
Yeah, I would imagine there's people listening who don't feel like they can share that they have PCOS with their partner or family members or friends or maybe all of them. I think about all the like stigmatizing experiences people go through living with PCOS, like the pressure to lose weight and cut out foods and the fertility piece. Like that's a lot of shit. And I'm like, and I say it like that because I'm like, can I cuss on YouTube? I don't even know. Okay. Okay, good. But anyway, like I could appreciate why someone may hesitate to even communicate with their partner or any other people in their life because of a fear of rejection. Just like the what ifs and
Yeah, like the blame game, right?
the blame. Yeah, back to that.
Like the general public, I would say, definitely has the idea, if they've even heard of PCOS before,
Right.
that you got PCOS because you did something, because you allowed yourself to get fat, because you didn't take care of yourself, because you ate the wrong food, whatever. It's like how we like shame people about diabetes. Like to me, it really feels like the same thing. And so I don't blame people for not feeling safe
Yeah.
to share that they have PCOS and like what's going on. But like also at the same time, change doesn't happen if people don't change their behavior. So we also have to like, how do you balance like, I don't feel safe to do this, and yet this is what needs to happen to make change in the world.
Yeah, I would assume sometimes people feel like they have the ability to carry more and other times not, and that's going to be different, and it may be based on who you're talking about the relationship with, who's in that relationship. And it does remind me so much of the infertility piece, like how one person sometimes is to blame for the infertility, and how that can just feel so heavy. And PCOS definitely has that theme throughout. So why not with that piece too, So, oh.
Man. And like I want to maybe just circle back to friendships.
Ooh, that's good.
Friendships are something I've had like a strangely tumultuous friend history the past like 10 years ish, 8 years, something like that. And part of that roller coaster has been people who were seemingly good friends until stuff got worse with chronic illness, and then all of a sudden it was like too much for them. And so I just wanted to touch on like, I know that that is a thing that happens. And so like, I like literally maybe people watching now have had that kind of thing happen, or it's currently happening in your life where like people maybe just don't understand it. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't get why you cancel plans, or why you have to leave early, or why you whatever can't go to the thing because you don't feel good, or you know you're not as perky as you used to be, or whatever the thing is. I just like really want to say like I feel you, and I validate like how hard. I'm like gonna cry, FYI. I'm gonna cry every time we have one. I'm a crier, but like there's something about if you have like a really good friendship that ends and it's like kind of made to be your fault that it ends, and then it's like your body's fault that it ends. There's like a lot of internalized stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
And like I definitely have dealt with that, and I'm still clearly, since I'm crying, working through those feelings. And I just want to say like friendships are really important relationships in our lives that don't always get the like amount of discussion like a partnership or your family. But like your friends are like your chosen family, right? When you have those really close ones. And so if you have friends who like don't understand your PCOS life or your chronic illness life, maybe you don't even have PCOS and you're just watching this by accident, like just know that you deserve people in your life who are going to support you, and who, even if they don't fully understand, they're going to figure it out. They're going to go learn about it. They're going to listen to you. And so if people are like leaving you, if they're walking away from you because of that, like that's their problem. And I know deeply, but like I just know like how impactful friendships can be, and when people don't get it and they like give you shit about it and like, oh, you used to be like this and now you're like this, like I need that.
You know, the word that I'm thinking about is boundaries.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what it sounds like to me, describing like as when someone's living with a chronic illness, or chronic condition of any kind, the fact that it's chronic means it gets worse. It's harder. It has dips, and you know, like, and there's times where it feels easier and times it's harder. And with PCOS, I know that's certainly the case for most people I've talked to, that there's times where just like they need to have more space and more rest. And not everyone with PCOS has agreed with this, but it seems like for the most part, most people probably need more rest with PCOS than people without. I think it's probably the hormonal imbalance plus all the like stigma and stuff. And some people don't get that. Like, I know I'm not at work right now and I have an opening in my schedule if you're like peeking into my iCalendar right now, but I actually need to like not do anything and just like veg on the couch and just be. And not everyone gets that, like, you know, we need space sometimes. I say we, but you know, I say that because like my own chronic illness, I need space. So like and I just need to like not be always with people. And yeah, I've had friends who've done that too. And I think boundaries can be really hard if like the dynamic has always been where kind of went with the flow, or just, or let a person choose, and then at some point you're like, you know, this is hurting me. So you know, getting used to boundaries, I see, like really seems to help people be able to connect with people who are going to support them, if they have access to that, but then also to be able to like meet their basic needs. Yeah, it's so hard though. It's such an easy thing to talk about, but hard.
It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And like actually we talked about this when I was on your podcast recently, and like not exactly the same terms, but it's basically the same topic. And I talked about curating your bubble.
Yeah.
Like curate it, and like maybe part of curating your bubble is letting go of friendships that are not working for you anymore.
Yeah,
or like
it's hard. Yeah.
your contact with them, maybe for the foreseeable future or forever, like they're a Facebook friend now, or like they're an Instagram friend instead of like a, like ride or die being at their house, them coming over first. Well, I don't know. We're in a pandemic right now, so
Yeah. Everything's a little different right now.
yeah,
Exactly.
maybe relationships have to change and evolve over time.
Which that's a normal part of relationships, right?
Absolutely.
But I know sometimes it can feel like being disloyal or it's going to hurt the other person. But wow, to also recognize you have your own needs.
It's self-care.
It's self-care. Yeah.
To choose what kind of relationships are healthy for you right now.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, when I talked to you about having a retreat, we talked about the community, I was like, it's what I'm craving
Yeah.
so badly. It's like these relationships that don't feel like so much work to maintain because it's with people who get it. And I don't have to start from a place of explanation. I can just start from a place of understanding. And like that difference between like starting at a 6 or starting at a 1, it like makes all the difference. It makes it to where I'm like actually willing to talk to them because I don't have to start at a 6. I don't have to start by explaining, well, this is what's going on. Like
this is PCOS. Don't talk about diets.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through all that.
All the things, right? That's exhausting. Explaining it. If I have to start with that, like with anyone, not just a friendship, like now this is back to everyone. If I have to start with an explanation, like,
that sounds hard. And I didn't really appreciate that. Like having PCOS and also rejecting diet culture, how starting a new friendship is like an investment. And it's a lot more work with PCOS than for someone like me without PCOS. Like I don't have to worry about like explaining myself, about like some of those things. So, but it's still so important to have that support, especially ones who can respect like boundaries and things like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if you're making a new friend, you don't really know how will they respect your will they respect your boundaries? Like, will they understand what you're talking about? Like, it's such a it's like exhausting to me just thinking about. I'm like, oh God, no, I just won't. I'll just stay at home and not talk to anyone. Like that's how it makes me feel. It's like exhausting.
Yeah. Have you ever told anybody you had PCOS and they reacted in a way that was like really supportive or the opposite?
I mean, yeah, like I've met people that were like potential new friends, I guess, or just like meeting new people. And they would be like, oh, I have PCOS too. But like it usually would then lead to like, oh, I do keto and I've lost all this weight.
Oh, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, have you tried it? And I'd be like, no, I don't. And like, like the Homer Simpson back away, like
back into the bushes. Yeah.
That's
I've
like,
watched that forever.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And they're like nice, like they're being supportive in the way that they think that I want to be supported, because that's like really common. Diet culture.
Oh, sure.
Diet culture is, the rule of the land, basically.
Oh, it's like how like so many people, connect with each other is like, how can we hate our bodies together?
How they're taught to connect with each
other.
And
then with PCOS too, with that being the first line of treatment, it's like, oh.
Yeah. So I've had that kind of like reaction or interaction. And then I've also had, I just realized that it's probably only one person that this ever happened with, but, and it was like this really amazing, like, oh, I have PCOS, and they like choose to have a beard and they choose to not diet and they choose to, and I'm like, oh my God, I love you forever. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And so that's like obviously best case scenario is somebody not on the symptom shaming train, and not that you like have to allow your facial hair to grow to like not symptom shaming, but like people who shave or don't shave or get electrolysis or whatever, or choose to try to, I don't know, I can't think of any other like lighten skin patches or whatever, any of those things. Like I don't really care if you do that, but like I want you to not do it because you feel like you have to. in order to
Yeah.
avoid a human being. So meeting, other people who are on that train is really amazing. But that's really only happened once, and that feels very sad now to say out loud.
Oh, that is. But yeah, meeting other people to be a part of your community who have like sifted through and are aware and are choosing some kind of like authentic, like radical kind of like, I'm going to choose this. I'm choosing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But I would say more often the interaction is like, oh, either I have PCOS or somebody I know has PCOS, and like, have you tried these diets?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
So PCOS certainly affects relationships for me because it makes me more wary of making new friends,
Yeah.
wary of talking to family, and it has taken some time to like help my partner.
Do you hear that?
Oh, it's time.
We have to cut ourselves off.
So we are trying this out as a way to run these conversations to rein us in, because we kind of can just go for a long time.
I mean, seriously.
So we have the chimes, and the chimes mean it's time to wrap it up. But also, we're not done.
Yeah, no, we're not done. Almost done, but I think we could say more about relationships. But yeah, we got to move on now.
Yeah. So I would say, I think we give ourselves a sentence to sum it up, and I would say PCOS affects every relationship that you have, and it takes a lot of work to get the people who are already in your life to a place where they understand, but that it can happen, and that it makes it harder to make new friends, especially if you're looking to connect in ways that don't involve diet culture.
Mm-hmm. I think about, as my final statement, if I was like a lawyer or something, my closing statement is, if you are living with PCOS and struggling, maybe even feeling shame about how you have different needs than your friends, or you're struggling in that area, that like boundaries are a wonderful thing. And the more that you can experiment with them and practice them and give yourself permission to have these different needs, I think that's going to be great. And there's people out there too. Thankfully, we have the online world that are going to share some values as you.
Is like the best thing that ever happened to connection with people, because you don't have to be in the same place.
Yes. Yeah.
It brings like, I'm like an infomercial for the internet. The internet. Okay, so it's time now. We're going to do this at the end of the videos every time, to draw a card. This is the PCOS Body Liberation deck. Well, this is the mini version of the deck. So it looks like this. That's the logo. And I have a little ritual that I like to do, and it involves shuffling. This is a mini deck, so it's kind of hard to shuffle, but let me see. Oh yeah, it's working. Okay. I shuffle twice. Hold on. Okay, and then the shuffle music.
Yeah.
And I just cut the deck and I draw the top card. Oh, this is appropriate. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. I know I'm on edge of my seat. Oh, there's no shame in PCOS.
There's no shame in PCOS. So then what happens is we reflect on it. So I don't know, Julie, if you have an immediate reaction, you can. If you want to reflect first.
Yeah, I do. Shame affects shame. That's funny. PCOS affects every cell in your body, and so much of it that it affects, no one else can see. And there's so much that you may feel like you have to explain and be different, and you may have more needs. And that often will be then buckets and buckets of heavy buckets of shame to carry around with you. And I wish, and I can speak for Laura, hopefully, that we wish you could put those buckets down. And living with PCOS is something that makes things different, and having those boundaries and supports, you deserve them. You deserve to get what you need and access to what you need. And I hope that just having permission wherever you need to be can help just unload some of that shame.
Yeah. Fuck. What Julie said. Yeah, so my reflection is basically all the stuff that you just said, and also that if you, dear viewer, have that shame, I'm gonna cry. If you're carrying those buckets of shame around, like, I get it, and it sucks so hard, and I know what that feels like, and I just want to like give you a hug, like through
COVID-free, yeah, COVID-free hug.
And just tell you that like it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm crying. I'm not crying because I feel that heavy. I don't carry those buckets of shame around in the way that I used to. Sometimes I pick them up for a few minutes and then I remember how much it sucks to hold them, and so I put them down. But like if you're still carrying them around like on a day-to-day basis, know that it doesn't have to be like that forever.
Yeah.
Because I have experienced that you don't have to hold them forever. So
yeah, I would imagine people like throw them at you too. Like, here's your bucket of shame.
You gotta like wear your Teflon suit. So
yeah, and have awareness of that for sure. And other people can carry the load. Oh,
yeah. So I think if you make more connections and stuff, if you curate your bubble with people who are also not making you carry that shame, then it can help. So this is the time in the card pulling ritual where like you get to reflect also. And if you would like to share your thoughts, I personally, and I think Julie also would love to hear your response to that. You can just leave a comment below with your thoughts. Oh my God, please do. I would really love that.
I would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, and if you don't feel like sharing, if that doesn't feel safe or good to you right now, just think about it. What does it mean for you to hear there's no shame in PCOS? Have you ever heard that before? Do you believe that? Is that a new thing? Is it an old hat to you? Like, just reflect on it and think and know that you don't have to hold all that shame.
Yes, yes.
And that being said, we did it.
It's time to wrap it up.
It's time to wrap it up. So thank you so much for watching, for being here with us, to listening, to commenting. Please share any thoughts that you have about literally anything that we said. If you have any ideas for topics, leave it in the comment box. In the description box below, we're going to leave links to our Instagram, to our website, to anything else that we think might be helpful or interesting to you. If you want to see when we post these, because we're going to start doing it every month, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and give this video a like if you liked it. It lets us know that you actually enjoyed this and that you would like to see more. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
We have to cheers. We're going to cheers to body liberation.
How can we forget this? This is so important.
Let's forget.
Cheers.
So ready?
Yeah. Clink. Yeah, I have good sound effects. Yeah, thanks for joining our conversation, and we look forward to next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.